Happy morning, friends. Here's yours, Dr. Ajanta. Welcome to day 6 session. Today we are just going to see about Python literals. Literal is a raw data given in a variable or constants. In Python, there are various types of literals. Let me just see one by one. The first one is numeric literals. Numeric literals are immutable, that is unchangeable. Numerical literals can belong to three different numerical types: integer, float, and complex. For an example, the integer number that can be negative or a 0 or positive, as like -3, -2, 0 or 1 or 2. And floating point numbers, which would be includes of decimal numbers as 3.5, 2.5, 1.1, even in negative as -3.5, -1.0. When coming to complex number, it would be as like example 1 plus j, 2 plus 3j, 1 minus 1j. Here I have just given you the example. Let me just see by executing. We assigned integer literals into different variables. Here A is binary literals, B is a decimal literals, C is an octal literal, and D is an hexadecimal. Next, when we print the variables, all the literals are converted into decimal values. For an example, 10.5 and 1.5 e to the power of 2 are floating literals, where 1.5 e to the power of 2 is expressed with exponential and is equivalent to 1.5 into 10 to the power of 2. And last one, we assigned a complex literal, that is 3.14j in variable x. Then we use imaginary literal, that is x point imaginary, and real literals x point real. So to create imaginary and real part of complex numbers. So here the exact results of that executable thing. Fine. Next, let me just go for type conversion of numbers in Python. As a programmer, you can convert a variable of any data type to number data types in Python using the functions, below functions. See, also using these functions, you can convert a number from one number data type to another. That is from integer to float, float to decimal, or decimal to integer, and so on. Here, let us just give you small example. See, A is equal to 3.7, B is equal to 19.16, and C is 3.27J. When converting the float to integer, that is the variable B, if I just want to first execute, I just execute this. And see here, when I just want to print the float value into an integer, the decimal point would be excluded and only the integer value would be executed. And see second one, converting int to float. Even though this float, that is 37.7, is already a float number, so it would be executed as it is. And when coming to this 3.7, it is a variable of float. If you just want to make it as a complex, and see we are just having a 0 imaginary thing, so 3.7 plus 0j. And to the same, you can also convert this float b into complex as like 19.16 plus 0j. And see, converting to complex, you can just combine both the values of 3.7 and 19.16 as the real and imaginary values by 3.7 plus 19.16j. Next, going for string literals. A string literal is a sequence of characters surrounded by quotes. We can use both single, double or triple quotes for a string. And a character literals is a single character surrounded by single or double quotes. And here it is an example, dear friends. The A variable has triple single quotes assigned with a string value, and the B variable is assigned with a string value apple with double triple quotes, and the C variable, it has a single quotes with a string, and D, it has a double quotes assigned. But the variable E, it is assigned with a value which it doesn't have a string, so it doesn't have a quotes. So if I just execute this, yeah, we would expect an error, that is name apple is not defined. And let me just see with one more example, dear friends. See here this is Python, is a string literals, and the C is a character literals. I just execute it, dear friends, and see here, when on coming to the third one, that is multi-line string, is assigned in a multi-line, that is it is assigned with a triple double quotes, which is a multi-line string literal. And next comes the Unicode. Unicode is a Unicode literal which supports characters other than English. In case the /u00DC, this represents the glyphs of upper U, and /u00F6, it represents the glyphs of lower O. So which we would just get a unique code, whereas U and O are a glyphs which is other than English character. And next comes the raw string. How you have specified, it would be the same without anything. So even though if you just provide any /n or /u / whatever the escape strings, whatever the thing, whichever it is included, it would just provide you as the same line. So thus comes the raw string literals. Okay, dear friends, next we just go for Boolean literals. And Boolean literals can have any of the true values, that is true or false. Okay, here in this program we use Boolean literal true and false. In Python, true represents the value as 1 and false represents as 0. The value of x is true because 1 is equal to true, and the value of y is false because y is not equal to false. Similarly, we can use the true and false in numeric expression as the value. Okay, let me just execute this, dear friends. So see here, so the value of A is 6, and because we add true which has a value of 1, and we would just resulted with 7. And similarly, B is 90 because we add the false which is having the value of 0 with 90. So this can also be possible. And dear friends, let me just see some more examples. See here, dear friends, this is 9.0. Let I just execute this cell number 6. Here I'm just typing 9.0, nothing, it's just with the command simple floating point, and here it is Google as floating points, and this is one a negative integer, and true or false, just a possible of Boolean values. And see here, dear friends, we are giving some string. The string values, one is in single quotes and another in double quotes. But what we want to get executed is, we are just going providing in a print function. And within that print function, what we are just providing is with a triple quotes, also with some quotes, with multiple lines, with breaks, and with a tab, and with a single black space. So with all the things, only this print function which just resulted with an execution output like this. And this one, it is just nothing as like a small examples, and this is what the print function which just resulted with the output. And dear friends, Python also has complex numbers that can be written as follows here in the next example. And note that the bracket or parentheses are required. Let I just execute it, dear friends. See here, the complex number, the variable, okay, what we are just giving is complex of 1, 2. And even though you can just directly provide the real and imaginary as 1.0 plus 2j. So both are equal. So how you want to get executed? So if you just provide it within the parentheses, or you can just directly provide the variable to be executed. Okay. Next, coming to the special literals. Python contains one special literals, that is none. We use it to specify to that field that is not created. So in this program, we define a menu function. So inside the menu, when we just set a parameter as this drink, then it just has the exact follow. So it just display whether it is available. And when the parameter is food, it displays none. That is what the exact function here. I just execute this. See, dear friends, if you just on clicking to the menu function menu, okay, we just set the parameter as a juice or a drink, then it would just show it. It just displays it is available. And when coming to when the parameter as like food or any other thing, it just displays none. Okay. So for that, this special literal can also be used. Next, coming the literal collections. There are 4 different literal collections. That is list literals, tuple literals, dictionary literals, and set literals. Let me just see with an example, dear friends. Here I just execute it. And see here, dear friends, here we have just provided the first one is a tuple, and second one it is a list, whereas list it just seems to be as like an array, and the set and the next one is the dictionary, where the dictionary it just provides with the key and the value. And when we just created a list of fruits, the next example just it shows a list of fruits, a tuple of numbers, a dictionary which having the values with keys and designated to each values, and the set of vowels. So this can also be, see actually previous example which I just shown in the cell 9, we are just providing the direct value and we make it to execute. And see here, when we just give it with the particular functionality, we are just getting this resultant.